Hey, welcome back to another episode of Cloud Thrive. I am super excited to have you here where we will together build a community that will continue to build strong, rise with intention, and thrive with courage and confidence always. So with that, I want to be able to just jump right in and share with you what we're going to be going over today. We are going to be touching on two very, very important elements that are always touched on in coaching and in this community and in this setting. I want to be able to open up the conversation to all of you where we're going to be sharing overcoming or how we overcome our negative thoughts and just changing those beliefs. And then also, how do we begin to empower ourselves to think beyond where we are? How do we change those negative beliefs? What does that look like for us? And where do we even begin? So as we're going through this, feel free to, of course, share your perspective, share where you are down in the comment section below. And while you're at it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video, the channel, open up the community, open up the conversation. So before we get started, I have three announcements before we jump into the information. I want to shout out businesses, small businesses, growing businesses, and rising entrepreneurs. That's really what they are. They are rising and thriving entrepreneurs. So the three announcements I have: one, we're going to be talking about Galilahi Beauty. Her information will be down in the description below. The owner and CEO of this business is Gessika Bridgeforth. She is an entrepreneur. She develops and is selling beauty and hair care products for natural hair care and wellness. You can find her information, like I just shared, in the description below. Number two, what are you crafting for? It's spelled a little bit differently, but this one is owned by Tamyka Williams. I will also share her information in the description below. She is a crafter. She's an artist. She crochets different handcrafts, and you can find her information in the description below. And with the weather getting a little bit colder, you can most definitely connect with her to get your scarves, your hats. The third one is just letting you guys know that the bracelets, the Build bracelets, are available on the website, on my website, buildriseandthrive.com. I'm actually wearing one today just to give you guys an idea. This one is called Deeper Thought. And no, every style is not the same. Yes, there's something for everyone there. And if there's something you'd like for us to make or like for me to put together for you, they are all handcrafted by me. It's something I've done in my past time, and I've struggled for a very long time to figure out how in the heck do I kind of pull in my pastime with what I love, which is coaching, and really partnering with everybody to find their purpose while I found mine. It's not fair that I'm able to build one bridge and not many, to make sure everybody is able to succeed moving forward. So let's talk about number one, right? Once you've identified where those areas are in your life that have that self-doubt, let's give them a number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever that looks like, right? So let's jump right into step two. Each one is a core and standing belief or an area of self-doubt that's keeping us from achieving our goals. When we talk about disseminating or breaking them down or destroying them, we have to really allow ourselves to be vulnerable and be true to ourselves, to be self-reflective. So we have to look at what leg will this have to stand on, right? Like, what if I looked at this belief that I have that's keeping me from achieving my goal? What areas of my life or what experiences have I had that will allow for me to see that this is honestly not true? And I have to be true to myself. I can't be biased in my reflection. I simply cannot. And so with looking at my own limiting self-belief, I then begin to pull back the layers. And one of those I can actually share is one of my own issues and one of my own challenges, right? So let's go on to number three, when we begin to reestablish a new belief. once we are able to identify, and we're able to identify evidence of how we can break apart that limiting belief, we then have to establish a new and successful and positive belief to replace that with. We can't simply pull and not replace. And once we are able to replace that belief, we then do what? We have to strengthen it. We have to make sure it's going to be stable, right? Because that's how we build. That's how we build a stronger foundation. That's how we make sure that once we move forward, we're going to be able to rise with intention. We have a place to move forward to, so that once we're successful, we have a space to continue to thrive in. We can build on top of. We can do what the heck we want to do from there, right? So, personally, I've struggled and suffered with failing quite often. I can be transparent about this. For many years, I continued to fail. I continued to put how other people felt about me ahead of me. And by doing that, I created unnecessary pressure on myself to create something that wasn't genuine. It wasn't authentic to me. And in doing so, I kept failing. I kept telling myself that I have to be this specific person in order to be successful. That wasn't exactly true. And I began to look at that core doubt of saying, if it doesn't look like this, I won't be successful. Frequently attributing my lifestyle and what other people said success looked like to what my success should look like. It wasn't true. It wasn't honest. And so it wasn't until I started to really back up and focus on where I was and where I wanted to be and what my vision of success really looked like that things started falling into place. Because I realized that my success is for me. And if I'm intentional about what that looks like, then I understand that I'm in no one's way and they're not in mine. And once I was able to reestablish that and reaffirm that, things began to fall in place. I was more genuine with my work. I was more genuine in my purpose. I'm more collected in how I'm humbled by how I'm able to have the opportunity to simply listen and gain further understanding. And it's a space of bliss. And just to dig a little bit deeper and it'll be more open, you'll hear it on the podcast, which go over there too. Subscribe to the podcast. It's also Cloud Thrive. Podcast comes out on Thursdays. So once the videos come out on Wednesday, I share this in all the videos. The podcast comes out on Thursday. And so I've kind of gone into the next part, right? So like once you have gotten through to looking at what you thought you knew, and you're able to really step back out of yourself and say, I know this is what I believe because this is what I've always been told, or this has always been my relationship with this thing, and you see right through it that that's honestly not the case, what's next? You begin to see what you should be seeing is what's honestly there. You're seeing the solution you need to be successful. And so that's honestly the guidance needed to really remove the self-doubt. Is once you remove it, you're starting to replace it with something better. You have to let go of what's good to accept what's great. Like that's really what this is. And that's exactly what we're doing with 2020, right? It wasn't good. It was not needed, but it was here. And that's really the most I could say about it, right? We didn't want it. We lost a lot. A lot was removed. But we don't stop because of it. And oftentimes we're put in a position where we have to choose comfort over courage or courage over comfort. And in this year, we have chosen to choose courage. So many of you have chosen courage. And with it, you have undoubtedly just blown yourselves away by removing the doubt you thought you had because you were honest with yourselves. And so I want to encourage you to continue to do that. And I've seen it so much in my community. I've seen it so much here in DC. I praise it. I love it. I encourage it. And so with it, we are building a community. We are building a community, and I would love for everybody to just be a part of that conversation, right? So with it, I want to move into empowering beliefs. So let's jump into empowering beliefs, and we're gonna lighten this up a little bit. So I want to talk about a couple things. I'm gonna throw out a couple phrases, and then you tell me what you think, and then we'll kind of move from there, right? So how many of you all have heard money don't grow on trees? Because I know I've heard it, and I've heard it growing up. So I mean, hopefully you've heard it, right? So or don't burn your bridges. I've heard that too. Or money is the root of all evil, and there's a lot. Like, there's just so many things that we hear over and over again that sometimes it begins to do things to us, right? Which of those do we begin to believe and we start to either take literally, or we start developing a fear, or we're scared based on those, right? We start to limit ourselves and limit our we start to limit how we move because of it. Think about, you probably have some other sayings, and if you do, put them down in the comments. I want to hear what you have to say. I want to know what other sayings you kind of grew up with and how they made you feel. But what sayings did you grow up with that you heard that you kind of feel like limits how you move? Like, it keeps you from taking that extra step to like be greater. Not great, but greater. Like, what is it? And tell me why. Like, share with me why it's limiting you, what's keeping you from doing it. And really, it's, where did the idea come from? I'm not saying it's true, I'm not saying it's not true, but the idea is, these are in essence sometimes limiting beliefs. And so when we talk about empowering ourselves, when we say life is hard, that depends on how you define hard. Good things come to those who wait. For how long? And do you put the work in? It all is in how you see it. And if we begin to empower ourselves to take action and look at how we invest in ourselves, it could be pretty impactful when we look back and see what we've done. Money might not grow on trees, but we're here today. We have the barter system. We have currency. There are a number of things that are used that are valuable that are not money. But money not growing on trees may limit how we think about it, right? So I'll leave you with this. 2020 has caused us to dig deep. Let's remove the limiting beliefs. Let's change and remove that self-doubt, because you've got this. There is nothing stopping you. There is nothing holding you back. And begin to empower yourself. Begin to empower where you are, who you are, and where you're going. It's okay to be vulnerable. It is okay to show yourself grace. But in the process, it is okay to care for yourself. It is okay to be clear about your needs. You've got this. And so with that, I will ask you again to like, subscribe, and share. Once again, and always, your journey matters. Here on Cloud Thrive, we continue to build strong, rise with intention, and thrive with courage and confidence. And until next time, Thrivers, I'm your favorite life coach, Day One. Join me again.